3.5, and it's also using the equations of the line, so remember these equations. So on the first one, I'm not going to do it. It's almost the same as this one. The only thing, this is not in slope-intercept form. So they want you to use the slope-intercept form to graph. That's why I have the graph here. So, but they're not giving you the slope-intercept forms. Remember, the slope-intercept form is the one that looks like this. So that's the slope, and that's the y-intercept, where it touches the y-axis. So before we can graph, we need to convert this to slope-intercept form. This is in standard form right now. So this is the standard, and you need to get to this. So where do we have the x? With the x, it's on the right side. So we need to bring that x to the right side to make it look like the slope-intercept form. So you're going to subtract 4x. That becomes 0, so negative 4x plus 1. So now it's in slope-intercept form. So what's the slope? Negative 4. And what's the y-intercept? Is 0, 1. So it's just the intercept. So how do you graph when you have this form? The first thing you need to do is find that y-intercept on the y-axis. So that would be 0, the x doesn't move, and then you move up positive 1. So that's where the graph starts. So the line should go through these dots. And as a review, if there's a negative in front of that coefficient, the slope, so this coefficient represents the slope. If that's negative, so you know the line will go down. So we know we're gonna have a line going down. So how do you find the other dots here? You're gonna use the slope. So there's a 1 here on the slope. And if you guys remember, this is the rise would be the number on the top, and the run would be the number on the bottom. So run means the x, moving left or right. Rise means up and down on the y. So starting from that point, you can use that slope to find the other points. So what's happening here? We're going down 4 units, negative 4. That's a rise. Instead of rising, right, we're going down. So we're going down 1, 2, 3, 4. What else is happening? We haven't finished yet. To find the other point, you also need the run. So we ran 1 dot. So it's right here. Okay, from that point, you can do the slope again and find the third point. So you're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4 again. And then 1 to the right. You run 1. If you want to go this way, well, instead of going down, right, you're going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to go to the left 1. Because it needs to be a line. We're dealing with lines, and all you have to do is draw that line. And that would be this equation. That's how you graph using slope-intercept form. Using the slope and the y-intercept, you start with the y-intercept and then use the slope to find the other points. Okay, so again, we're using forms of a line. I'm going to do example 4 from 3.5. Okay, so this one is asking you find the equation of a line with slope negative 2. So we are given the slope, which is negative 2, and that passes through that point. So they're giving us a point, which is negative 1, 5. This is the x, and that's the y. So these are the two things given to us. Write the equation in slope-intercept form. So the slope-intercept form is this. And also they want it in standard form, which is this. This is standard, right? Standard. And this is slope-intercept. Slope-intercepts. Okay. So before we can get here, we need to use a point slope because they're giving us a slope and a point. So remember, we're using point slope. Point slope. It's when you use this one when they give you a slope, the m, and a point in the line. These two. That's a point. And that's why we have here. We have a point on the line. So we're gonna use point slope. And this would be y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. So let's write it like this. So what's the slope? Negative 2 x minus x. And what's the point? The point is the x goes here, remember. That's the x. So negative 1 here. And the 5 over here. So what do you have? You have y minus 5 on this side. Negative 2x plus minus minus gives you plus 1. And then distribute because we want to find this one first. So y minus 5 equals negative 2x, 2 times x, and negative 2, 2 times 1. Okay, after that, add the 5 plus 5, 0. So the slope-intercept form would be negative 2x plus 3. That would be answer number 1. So this is the point, the slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form. Now we need to find the standard form because they want that too. Standard form. And that looks like this. Okay, so grab that equation again, the one we found, and make it look like this. So how can we make it look like this? The x is on the left side. So we're gonna have to carry that x to the left side. So we're gonna add 2x, 0, so you get the 3, which is the c, and then you get the y positive, and then the 2x. And that would be the standard form. If you notice the x is on this side, the a is just a 2, the b would be a 1 here. The b is the 1 and then the y, and then you have the c, which is a 3. And that's how you do number 4. Okay, number 5, find the equation of the line through that dot, point, 2 points actually. So they're giving you 2 points on the line. Write the equation in standard form. Okay, that one has an extra step because we have the point, but we don't have the slope. The slope it's unknown. We have points in this case, 2 points. We have the 2/5 and the 3/4. So how do you find the missing slope? You're gonna use the slope formula. So the slope formula looks like this: y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So they're giving us, you can label this ones x1, y1, x2, y2. And you know what to substitute now because you label them. So what would be the slope of this line? So what's y2? 4. All of this is a review, guys. 5. x2 would be negative 3. The formula has an n minus, and then x1 would be 2. So the slope would be 4 minus 5 would be negative 1. Negative 3 minus 2 would be negative 5. So the slope would be negative over negative. It's 1/5. So this is 1/5 for that one. Okay, now we have the slope. And now we have 2 points, but we only need one. So we're going to use the point slope again. The point slope form, which is this y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Whenever you get a slope and a point, you use this one to find these other forms. So y minus parentheses, what's the slope? 1/5. X minus parentheses. So what goes here? That's the y, which then choose any of these two numbers. I'm gonna choose this one. So 5, and the x would be 2. So y minus 5 equals 1/5 x minus 2. Okay, since they want the standard format, the other example that I show you, I should have stopped here and I should have done this before anything. Since we have a fraction here, I should have multiplied just by 5 to not deal with a fraction inside. So these would just cancel these, and you end up with this on this side, x minus 2. This would be 5y, you distribute, minus 25. Okay, so maybe rewrite 5y minus 25 equals x minus 2. So to convert it into the standard, remember standard looks like, I'm gonna write it here, ax plus by equals c. So the x has to be on this side, and these numbers have to be on the right side, and then the y stays there on this side. So let's continue here. 5y minus 25 equals x minus 2. So I know I need to carry that number to this side, because that's where we want the numbers. So you get 5y equals x plus 23. Negative 2 plus 25 is 23. And then we need to carry that negative x to this side because we want x on this side. So negative x plus 5y equals 23. Okay, we are not done, even though here on the book they don't do it. But usually we don't want a negative for that. If you notice, that one doesn't have a negative anywhere. So to get rid of that negative, we're going to divide, or we're going to multiply the same thing by a negative 1. Sorry, I didn't anticipate this much. So negative 1 times negative x gives you x. Negative 1 times positive 5y gives you negative 5y equals negative 23. And that would be the standard form. So that would be the answer. Okay, for the last question. So finding the equation of the vertical line. So now remember vertical lines. So what's the equation of vertical lines? So the equation is this x equals z. So that's the general equation. That's how it looks. What does the c represent? The c represents the x. In this case is the x-intercept, which is denoted as z comma 0. So this is the y, this is the x, and this is the y. So now for x-intercepts, the y is always 0. And the x, you have a number. Now graphically, how do they look? Well, they're giving us a point here. What's the point that's on the line? Negative 1, 5. So let's look for these points. So it's negative 1 on this side, positive 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right there. If it's a vertical line, that means the line has to go like this. Where does it touch the x-axis? Touches it right here. So that would be the x-intercept. So the x-intercept is -1, 0. So that means this is the z and the 0. So that means the z is equal to -1. So c has to be equal to -1. So what's the formula? This. So x equals parentheses. What's the c? It's where it touches the x-axis, which is -1. So the formula for this would be, let me see, yep, x equals -1. And that's the answer. So remember, vertical lines start with x equals. Horizontal lines start with y. So we're going to be using all of these forms. So if you notice, we use that one, we use that one, we use that one, we use these two, and we had to use this also. Thank you guys.